Hello everybody, welcome back to Debate Hub. I am Chesh, your master debater and host and the one collecting all the goddamn news on the planet. Today I've got Landon, I've got Maanyaa, I've got Dapper. You might notice we're in different positions. You might notice our layout looks a little bit different. It's gonna be very snazzy in here. I hope you are ready. Hi guys, Landon, you go first. How are you? How you doing? What are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm having fun. The C contest submission deadline closed, and I'm currently judging really insane, crazy code. And to relieve my brain, I go off and look at things like news or try to fix old code that's broken.
Now, there's some new people. The channel has grown a little bit in the past little while. Do you want to tell people who you are? Like, what is it you do here?
Well, I'm one of the four horsemen of the apocalypse. I am an astronomer, and I study planetary scientist, and I study planets. So three of us have a monthly show on the keel of volcanoes going on, and I do. If you look me up in Wikipedia, Landon Kurt Knoll, you'll see stuff about me there, and I enjoy and have fun.
Landon, Wikipedia mugging everyone.
Yeah, I know, humble brag. I got a Wikipedia page.
I've done stuff, and I enjoy conversation with these fine folks, because it's interesting, particularly the news. I like to look at news. I have weird hobbies such as I watch the Westminster Parliament proceedings, and also sometimes the Australian Parliament proceedings. They're amusing.
It do be like
Canadian too.
Thank you so much, Landon. Maanyaa, how you doing? Who are you? What do you do here?
Me? I'm Maanyaa. You can find me as Maanyaas at almost all the platforms, including YouTube, Blue Sky, Twitter. You'll see me on Chesh's channel, Goblin Queen Chesh, a lot of times, where we whack around trolls and stuff. And then I'm here on Debate Hub, part of the Volcano Show and Debate Pub, and sometimes Rum and Coke. I make appearances there too, and I used to be a raging troll whacking person before, but now I've pivoted a little bit into more logical whacking of people, and argumentative whacking of people. So you might start seeing me here on Debate Pub more in the future if I don't lose my sanity, because I have a full-time job also as a safety, quality, and compliance advisor for a big company, so in Australia. So yeah, that's a big mammoth in itself. So that's
and you're very into safety things. That's something that's something you actually have a degree and you know something about.
I'm pursuing a level 7 diploma in occupational health and safety management.
Yeah,
I have a master's in electrical electronics engineering, so which was a decade ago, I guess, but it's still there, I guess, on my resume. So
Are you drinking coffee?
Yeah, as usual. Coffee.
Wonderful.
Coffee is my go-to thing. Yeah.
Ooh.
So
Dapper.
Yeah. Welcome everyone.
Who are you?
Hi, I'm Dapper. I'm a dinosaur on the internet. I mostly do debunking of some pseudoscience stuff, mostly young Earth creationism, but not all young Earth creationism. My most recent video series that went public was about geocentrism. Had a guy who decided that for various reasons, including, I guess, the Bible, that the Earth is the center of the universe. It was exceptionally dumb. And
that being charitable.
Sometimes you can find me over on Top Hats Off with Chesh, where we do some Star Trek TTRPG actual play, and sometimes some art streams. And then coming up next few weeks, we're going to be doing some D&D actual play, because we are going to be on hiatus from Star Trek between seasons 2 and 3 of my 4-season show, because that's what that is. So if you like sciencey stuff, if you like debunk stuff, if you like D&D, if you like Star Trek, I don't know, come hang out.
Very nice.
His stuff is, you should check out his stuff because, over there, because he's, not only does he have fun debunking stuff, but he also will learn things as to, it's not just it's a, here's what actually happens.
I refuse to learn things. For anybody who is new here, this is our we kind of relax a little bit. We talk about the news. We talk about what's going on in the world. We talk about politics. We talk about AI. We talk about recent stuff. Sometimes it's old news. Sometimes we have to do a little bit of a history because we're like, what the hell is going on here? Well, 20 years ago, you know what I mean? You have to kind of do this. We also really like to dunk on Elon Musk, and I promise you one of those is going to come up this time. Yeah. So bless your hearts.
I liked having a break, though.
Yeah, we did have a break from Musk, which was pretty nice, but shall we dive into it? Are you ready for the new layout? Are you guys ready? Are you ready?
Please.
I think I'm ready. I don't know.
Look at how pretty it is in here.
Ooh, wow.
Oh, nice. I love it.
It's like I'm in space. I mean,
I
am in space, but it's like I'm in orbit.
All right, so we have a lot of things to talk about. Do you guys want to start with AI? I tried to put these in some kind of order, but it's kind of chaos. It's kind of get fucked regardless. So Pamela Anderson's got a new campaign banning AI models. Anderson stars in a new campaign for AEO's Aerie that doubles down on the lifestyle brand's pledge to always keep it 100% real. No AI-generated bodies, no AI-generated people ever. So how cool is that?
That's very cool, actually.
Right? Good news, everyone.
I'm not referring to models as in large language models. I'm referring to people pretending to be modeling.
Yes. Yeah. People who are doing the modeling are not being. They're not banning AI models like as in the algorithms, but like the individuals. Pamela Anderson, who banned makeup from her personal life, is now taking a stand against AI models. The veteran celebrity who earned raves for her performance in Gia, I don't know what this is, The Last Showgirl, has teamed with AEO's Aerie to star in a new campaign that doubles down on the lifestyle brand's pledge to always keep it 100% real, no AI-generated bodies, no AI-generated people ever. It's an extension of Aerie's mission launched last October. The campaign clip opens with Anderson's voice as she delivers prompts to generate a female model, one that is happier and more joyful, but natural. Increasingly, Anderson becomes displeased with the artificial results that appear. Make them feel real, she says, until the robotic models come to life and join her on the set. Because of how she's taken a stand in her own life as it pertains to her image and how she presents herself, Aerie called Anderson's, quote, a natural partner for their declaration that real matters, adding this next chapter reinforces their commitment to transparency with its community. I like to see it. I like to see people working together against bad and poor uses of AI nonsense.
I mean, I would also hope that they, like, if you're talking about clothing, fashion modeling, that they feature clothing that's been designed by a human rather than churned out by a bot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. We don't have a full hate of AI here. I don't think any of us fully think that like AI is bad all the way around, but I think everybody here agrees that it doesn't belong in certain creative spaces. Modeling, replacing people's faces for acting, replacing models, generative art. I think we all pretty much agree that that's just bad mojo. But if it comes to like, creating a graph out of a data set for like modeling genomes or something, I think we're all pretty much okay with that in a closed system.
I don't have a strong like moral objection to that idea, but also it's like, why a human's going to do it better? Just have a human do it, please.
I think it can data scrape large data sets quickly they still need to be go over by humans, but I think they can scrape through the data faster.
Yeah, I think as a tool, it can be used by humans. Mm-hmm. If humans use the tool for good purposes, then you do good things.
Yeah. So I would say
there isn't. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Maanyaa.
We have a delay.
I would just say, Yeah, there is some delay. I would just say that if you want to use the AI, use it, but please proofread your work because proofread your bloody work. You cannot always depend on AI to give you everything correctly. Uh, why I say proofread your work? Because AI might take something that you have asked them to do in a very different direction that you may not realize
Yeah.
it can take. And yeah, simply copying pasting that will not help you. Just saying.
Dapper,
And
you had something?
Yeah. So one thing that concerns me about the whole like, well, we don't have a, and I agree, I don't necessarily have a moral objection to every use of AI, but one thing that does concern me is that there seems to have been some work on like just like mathematical modeling of like what can and can not, like what can the AI do and what can't it do. And it looks like there's actually a pretty decent argument to be made that you actually can't get any information out of it faster or more reliably than you could with humans. In fact, it's always going to be slightly worse than humans
Oh, interesting.
in the long run. And so, while I don't necessarily have a moral objection, it seems like there might just be a practical reason that it's just not ever helping. Like there's also been plenty of studies that have said things like even people who perceive that they're producing more deliverables at work with the use of AI are actually just wrong about that.
Oh.
They're tricking themselves. They're actually
Yeah.
not producing anything any faster. And like something like 90 to 95% of all companies that have implemented AI have either lost money with it or not actually had their revenues increase as a result. And a number of them are also now having to rehire people they fired as a
Yeah.
result of thinking that AI made them redundant. And it's just like, I, it seems like a solution to no problem that exists
Sure.
for most cases.
I think
I think AI can be used as a tool, but not replace humans. That
Yes,
is
and I,
quite
and I,
apparent.
I agree with what
Right.
Manya has said. It's a useful
But it seems
tool,
like
and so some of the things that you can do with it can improve your thing. Just like humans are typically tool users, and the problem is if if you just say everything is solved by AI, it's like saying I have a hammer. Hammer's the only tool I need, and so I'll just bash things. Right?
Yeah.
You'll get something, but it won't be very creative. So use the
but in this
tool, as
case,
Manya was talking about. Proofread your work, and
Diligently.
use it for what it can do. Here's examples. I would like a tool to assist me in driving and to alert me to things to do. I don't want that tool to drive my car. Right? I
yeah.
Yeah.
Just like people use Photoshop and Illustrator or GIMP or those things like that as tools to develop images, right? Because to say the only way to do it is to take a paintbrush and paint on a canvas, well, that's fine, but AI can give you a tool, but be creative and own your work, as opposed to
Yes.
turn it over to something else. And don't
Yes.
just assume the AI is going to be. So people, for example, who say we don't need to hire specialists, we can just have an AI bot. Keep. So go ahead, Manya. I triggered you, but please continue.
Trigger. No, you didn't trigger me. I was just amused when people say they don't need specialists anymore because they can use humans. Like Dapper has said it before, you just need one bad anomaly or axiom to be introduced in an AI algorithm, and the whole thing will just fall apart. That's what will happen, and that's why humans are there to avoid that anomaly or bad axiom to be introduced in the
Yeah.
AI. That's why we say you need specialists to proofread your work, because algorithms and AI can go horribly wrong, you know.
So what would happen if I was a company decided I was going to use AI to generate my safety protocols and my safety manual?
It will be so generic that you want to just put it through a shredder. It will be
Exactly.
so generic. You will just be like, this is useless, I'm just going to put it through a shredder. That's the thing, right? um, AI is very good at generate. Again, what you put in is what you're going to get out, right? So in the beginning, you might get something generic, but then you have to polish it again and again and again. And then that's where Dapper's argument comes in. He's like, why not just sit down and write it yourselves? Right? Right? You are
Yeah.
giving the prompts to the AI anyways. But I can understand where people are not good with literacy, it can help them, right? They can give unpolished prompts and the AI can help them achieve good results. So I see the pros and cons, but again, you have to polish it. It has to be, you can't be generic with things. For example, I'll give an example. We needed to do a permit to work, right? And one of our colleagues wrote a permit to work and a safe work method statement for it, which involved using simple hand grinders. Let's just say that. There was not a mention of hand grinders in that safe work method statement.
Ooh,
And I was
too
like,
bad.
what did you write this for? Oh no, I just gave AI a prompt and it wrote it down for me. And it mentioned scissor lifts as confined spaces. I'm like, what are you
What?
talking about?
That's
Oh well,
not
there are railings on four sides, so it's obviously a confined space. I'm like, have you read the
No.
legislation and the code of practice, what it says about confined spaces? The next safe work method statement I got for the next time the contractors were on site, there was not a mention of confined spaces for what do you say, scissor lifts.
And
I
that's
was just
important because
like,
people could die
good.
if they do.
I'm like, do you know
But
what are the requirements for
Carl,
confined
that
space?
kills people.
so
There was this incident in America itself where someone accidentally, when they were mixing chemicals, instead of a dot, they put in comma because they forgot which like standard of numerals the algorithm used, and it caused a big blast. Right?
oh.
You have to be really careful with what you're doing when you're using AI, and I'm just like,
But
guys, come
But
on.
it's a tool, and if you use a
It's a tool,
tool
exactly.
poorly, you will get poor results. I think AI can be a powerful tool, but also understand that a lot of the free tools, you are the product. So if you go to a search engine and type something, you're dealing
Yeah.
with an AI bot, and you'll get a bunch of slop at the top, which is not an answer, but it's a test marking to say, can we get Dapper to pay attention to this, right? And if you linger there and go away, they know you got your attention. If you expand it, they know you got your attention. They deliver that stuff not for the purpose of giving information, but to try to classify who you are, so they sell you to their customers, the advertisers. So
Joke's on
my
them. I pay attention
suggestion
to nothing.
on search engine is treat what the bot puts out as an ad. Just scroll past it, scroll past the ad links to something useful down the bottom.
Yeah.
If you don't find something, you can go back to the top and look at it, but treat it as a set. Yet AI can be a powerful tool. The tools are getting better.
Speaking of doing the tool incorrectly, educational AI YouTube video accused of teaching kids to play in traffic and eat toxic food. Children's media specialists are sounding the alarm over AI YouTube videos that are supposed to be educational but actually contain harmful messaging. Reports from Futurism, the 74 highlight, is a growing wave of AI-generated children's content flooding the platform, often designed to mimic trusted learning videos while slipping in serious errors. In some cases, the mistakes are outright dangerous. One video shows children walking in the middle of the road with cars approaching, presenting it as normal behavior. Another incorrectly teaches road rules, claiming green means right instead of go. Another AI-generated sing-along about the 50 United States features mismatched visuals and audios with distorted names like Ribio Island, Connecticut, Oklolodia, and Luguislia presented as if they're real.
Oklahoma is one of my favorite states, actually.
Yes. And they have really good lasagna in that Luguislia place, right?
I didn't know
Allegedly.
that. That's pretty cool.
Allegedly.
It is not.
That's what the AI bot said.
I really do think YouTube making this step into children's content without just making a separate platform for it was a mistake.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, and it's also like you like YouTube has to stop not stop it has to start cracking down on these things, because it's not just about whether it's a bad video or not. It's about what is being allowed to made and upload, and labeled for kids, for Jesus effing Christ, right? And what are children being exposed to? That is a big matter of concern. And because if I'm not wrong, there was a study, if I'm not, that reported that like 20% of videos now that are shown to new YouTube users were AI slop, and there are some large channels that are involved in it. So
That's a
I
high
just
percentage.
saying, YouTube,
Yeah.
get your act together before your channel, your platform gets overtaken by AI and you cannot control it anymore, and you lose it.
Well said. Well said.
There
And I
are
think
actually,
if you look at, for example, what is Twitter? Twitter exists in part
Exactly.
to get money from bot farms, right? People pay Space Karen money to fling AI generated stuff at people
yeah.
to see how they react, to classify them.
Actually,
Yes.
there's an
please.
ongoing. So we'll bring it to a YouTube community that isn't ours, but that I sometimes encounter. I'm a giant nerd. I don't know if you guys know this, and you might be able to tell based on my webcam that
Really?
sometimes I get into Warhammer 40k stuff.
Oh,
Occasionally.
really? Sometimes.
Yeah, you might not have known. Yeah.
Yeah. What's on your screen, by the way?
This is Space Marine 2 gameplay. Oh, you mean like my actual screen?
Okay.
Oh, I'm not playing
Yeah,
Space Marine 2 right now. I have Satisfactory
Oh.
open, and I'm just kind of running back and forth for no reason. Mostly because I like the sound of the rain that they added. It's really nice. Anyway, but yeah, so Warhammer LoreTube has had a twofold problem. One is it has just been inundated with so many slop accounts. I have gone weeks where I told YouTube to not recommend a channel because it was a Warhammer YouTube AI slop nonsense channel, like more than once a day
God.
for that entire week. And also, actual human creators are having their accounts suspended or demonetized because YouTube has wrongly flagged them as AI content. And it's just like,
Yeah.
why is it that it's so pervasive, and yet the people who seem to be getting in the most trouble are, like, in some cases, pretty big and well-respected names who've been in the game of Warhammer, like, LoreTube for longer than, like, generative AI has been able to make Warhammer videos in the first place.
Yeah,
But I
that's
think
a-
that AI can be a powerful tool to do a lot of really interesting things, and just be a responsible tool user.
And sometimes people aren't responsible because they just want to make money. For example, food-related clips raised further concern. Some videos depicting babies eating whole grapes, which are known choking hazards, as well as honey, which can cause infant botulism. Others show characters consuming raw elderberries, which are toxic when uncooked. Health experts concerned over YouTube's educational AI slop. Experts warn that these are not harmless. Young children rely on repetition and visual cues to learn, meaning incorrect information can stick, especially when presented in bright, engaging formats that appear trustworthy. Guys, just watch Sesame Street. Just watch Sesame Street. Like, just
Right?
get out of here with this
And tell Elmo.
nonsense. Tell Elmo.
All
right.
On
Yeah, go ahead.
building on Dapper's point about people who have been on YouTube for a long time with good channels. There are channels out there who do like story time thing, who narrate spooky stories and also like crime stories and stuff. Their channels are also getting demonetized and taken down because of this, like because of the confusion between whether it's AI or not. And it is frustrating. And I would say YouTube should be I hope that YouTube is honest with it about it, because there is a very chance that YouTube might get greedy and might want to swap out its own AI channels with similar content and take so they don't have to pay the actual human creators. So yeah, YouTube, we're watching you.
All right, next
Yeah,
up.
and this is an important problem. I think I mentioned when I had a conversation with a certain actor at the Istanbul airport, and this person plays a Klingon on Star Trek and takes pride in the fact that they care about the Klingon that they're speaking and trying to advance the culture there. And they're being told by agents that they need to agree to let a bot generate
Yeah,
their
that's no good.
character as being cheaper, and they're saying no. If you do that, because they work with linguists, unlike a person who's not a linguist, and they want to create nuances about the Klingon culture, and they fear if they turn their character over to a bot, it won't go well, right?
Yeah.
But on the other hand, you can do really powerful things in, like, you're trying to get specific equations and have a bot suggest a solution path, but verify. It's trust but verify. That's the key thing.
Next up, there was a really big protest going on this weekend.
Yay!
The Nokings protests take to the streets and towns and cities across the United States. There's a few viewers of ours that have been out there, and they've shared some pictures. But across big cities and small towns on Saturday, millions of Americans poured into the streets in a sweeping, coordinated protest against President Donald Trump in what organizers of the No Kings movement said could become the largest day of demonstrations in the nation's history. From New York to California, from rural Kentucky to the nation's capital, demonstrators marched, chanted, and waved signs denouncing authoritarian overreach, war in Iran, and an aggressive immigration crackdown that has roiled communities and national politics alike. More than 3,000 events were planned nationwide, with turnout expected to surpass an estimated 5 million to 7 million people who participated in earlier rounds of protests over the past year. By midday, the flagship rally in Minneapolis was underway, with at least 50,000 people gathered in the state capitol in St. Paul. Organizers had promised a high-profile lineup of speakers and artists, which included Senator Bernie Sanders, Jane Fonda, and Bruce Springsteen, who performed Streets of Minneapolis, a song that he wrote in the aftermath of the fatal shooting by federal immigration agents in the city that drew national outrage to help fuel the protest movement. So congratulations, good job, anybody who's been out there. If you have any stories you want to share of stuff that you experienced while you were out there, please feel free to hit me up. I'm more than happy to share your stories.
So there is something I want to say that isn't just a story of what happened, but I want to share some context, right? And
please do.
It has to do with some of the things that sometimes I hear from especially people outside the United States. And what sometimes I hear, and I understand why, is why isn't anyone doing anything? And by anything, they mean basically cracking out the guillotines. And I want to give some context for a few reasons. One, it is not easy for Americans from a practical standpoint to do the kind of protests that you see in places like France, right?
The size of the country alone.
Yeah, the size of the country alone. Also, Americans don't have any particular legal protections for protesting from, like, say, being fired or something like that, right? Also, if you're injured by the cops, you're not getting any nationalized healthcare to help you deal with that. It's just on you. And also, I want to point out that historically, it's actually not the case that violent protests and like revolution movements and whatnot have higher success rates. They actually only have high success rates when there's a big, powerful backer for them, like usually the United States in recent history. And so until the United States decides to fund the America-Contra rebels, an armed revolution is very unlikely to succeed, and this is actually about twice as likely to cause actual change as if Americans just got up and broke out the guillotines. And don't get me wrong, I get the impulse, and sometimes I feel like I share the impulse. And there's definitely a YouTuber I watch who often wears guillotine earrings, and I love it, but it's actually still not a practically good idea for that. So if you've been watching the US from afar and saying, how come you're not doing more? How come you're not revolting? Why isn't there blood in the streets? There's a strategic reason for that, as well as practical limitations on how much of that is just easily doable by Americans. So
I think Dapper, you raised some really good points. I would say that one thing you can take into account is to understand that there's lots of people over there and protesting who feel that what's happening is not okay. You might look at the news and get a different impression, but most people want better things than what's going on. And there are people behind the scenes that are working towards improving the situation, right? The thing that I would suggest people avoid is being convinced they're powerless, to be convinced that nothing can be done, right? Those in power would like everyone else to say there's nothing you can do about it, so just stay home. And I applaud those people who do stand up and make their voice being heard. And I applaud those people behind the scenes that are working to try to improve things. Just know that there's a lot of decent people out there who aren't okay with what's going on.
Well, in kind of in line with that, you're gonna see in the next one we got here is the Trump administration responds to nationwide no kings with "We don't think about the protest at all." So let me just,
which is a lie.
This is a
we
little
know that's
bit
a
of
lie, though.
that is definitively just not the case, right? That's like, it's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense.
Like,
State-sponsored media has been covering this stuff, complaining.
Yeah.
They of course they
Like,
they-
The thing is that
let's be very clear. The reason that Greg Bovino was fired and the reason that there has been a reduced ICE presence in Minneapolis is because of the protests.
Right. Well,
yeah, so
go ahead.
that's the thing, right? This whole like protest might like look like it's vague, or like what is actually being protested against. But it's a very good advantageous point that it looks vague, because it can be against anything that you might have a grievance against. Immigration raids, any environmental rollbacks, any fears around election security. They are trying to bring in these stupid bills around, ID presentation during voting and stuff, and also the war in Iran. So you can just and that is why the Trump government is trying to say, oh, we are not worried about it, or look very nonchalant about it, because they know this is an opportunity for people to just there are so many grievances out there that people can grab any one and be part of it, and it can cost them. So
it's Hopper.
If the Trump administration
It's Hopper
is saying
from A Bug's
something,
Life.
You can guarantee that they're lying. You can pretty much guarantee they're lying. And so they say they don't care about it because they do care about it. And now the thing is, when you talk about AI, one of the things that's happening is that cops are using apps, like let's say cops, ICE agents are using apps to try and identify somebody, and your Fourth Amendment right to be damned according to them. There are problems there, but still people are speaking up, and you're not alone. The other people agree, even though the state-sponsored media that shows up might convince you otherwise, even though the White House might convince you otherwise.
Let me just put this into perspective for everybody real quick with literally just this one clip.
Someone told me to watch this clip.
Was that ant that stood up to me?
Yeah, but we can forget about him. Yeah.
Why did it stop? There you go.
Yeah, you're right. It's just one ant.
Yeah, boss. They're puny.
Puny? Say, let's pretend this grain is a puny little ant. Did that hurt?
Nope.
Well, how about this one?
Are you kidding?
Well, how about this?
Wow. They put this in a children's film, huh?
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all
This
might
is important.
stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber
This is
us
actually
100 to
about
1.
tyranny.
And if
This
they
is
ever
what's
figure that
happening now.
out, there goes
Thanks,
our
Robert.
way of life. It's not about food.
It's about keeping those ants in line.
That's what it is. This is why the protests matter. If you want people to know, you want people to change, you have to understand that you outnumber them. And if you choose not to go protest and you choose to stay home, then you choose to listen to them when they bullshit you and say, well, we don't actually care what they're saying. Well, if they didn't care what they're saying, then they wouldn't be, be concerned about ICE agents. They wouldn't be concerned about bullying you, would they?
And the thing is that
Based hopper.
as I said, yeah, and this vagueness is giving an opportunity to the conservatives also and the Republicans also to join these protests, right? Because it's avoiding that cult of personality type thing, right? It's not following one personality like Donald Trump. It's like anyone can join. So people who don't want to follow Donald Trump, Republicans can also join these protests and say, fuck you, Donald Trump. That's why it says no king. That's brilliant.
I understand it's easy to become cynical, but realize that there are a lot of people who aren't okay with what's going on and are working in their own way to try to improve the situation. And hats off to those people who give it a try.
Yeah, okay, let's go to the next one here. Nationwide general strike planned. There's more planned. So if you want to go, or if you're interested, or if you want to follow, get out of my way. Nationwide general strike planned for May 1st, no Kings organizer. No work, no school, no shopping. We're going to show up and we're going to put workers over billionaires and kings. Co-founder of Indivisible said on Saturday that a nationwide general strike is being planned for May 1st that will be modeled on the Day of Action residents of Minnesota organized in January against the brutality carried out by federal immigration enforcement officials. Appearing at the flagship No Kings rally in Minneapolis, Levin, whatever, praised the, I can't read people's names, praised the strength shown by the Minnesotan protesters in the face of ICE, sieged their city this year, and said his organization wanted to replicate it across the country. Quote, the next major national action of this movement is not just going to be another protest, they said. It's a tactical escalation. It's an economic show of force inspired by Minnesota's own Day of Truth and Action. On May 1st, on May Day, we're saying no business as usual, he said. No work, no school, no shopping. We're going to show up and we're going to be putting workers over billionaires and kings.
So that's a nice thing to do. I put it in my calendar.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make sure that the day before, first of all, I don't have anything delivered. On that day, I will stay off the internet, and I'll do something like read a book.
Oh, there you go.
So this also goes back to one of the things I was saying before about there are constraints in the United States that are more extreme than many places. And that's actually one of the reasons why the United States does not have a big history of general strikes. And so if general strikes become something that Americans can actually pull off, that's a big deal, like a huge deal, because it is not even non-compliance in terms of like legality, right? Like it's not illegal to take off a day of work, but it's a huge hit to all the people who have, the money and the power in the U.S., the oligarchs. Because what are they going to do? You going to fire 10 million people? No, you're not. You literally can't do that.
Yeah.
You won't have a business.
Well, this is the show of force, right? That Hopper was, warning his fellow oligarchs about.
Yes.
So on that day, I will work especially hard to look at what needs to be done to correct the current situation as best as I can. Notes that I'll be contemplative of that day. Won't be engaged in e-commerce. Won't be engaged in deliveries or things like that. It'll be my attempt to that, as well as working to improve the situation as best as I can, because that's the best I can do.
Yeah, just do what you can, yeah. And not everybody can do everything. The point is just to do what you can. Last one we've got for this is, because I thought it was kind of matched up for Trump being like, I don't fucking care. Taxpayers tab for Donald Trump golf habit crosses $100 million. This is Trump's 56th visit to his course in West Palm Beach and 110th golf day in just over 14 months in office, keeping him on track to spend $300 million on golf.
Remember when Republicans were really complaining about Bill Clinton playing too much golf? Because I remember that.
Yes.
Obama playing too much golf.
They were mad that that man wore a tan suit. President Donald Trump's golf habit has now cost taxpayers at least $101.2 million in travel security expenses since his return to office, a figure that is 2/3 of his first-term golf total, and has him on track to spend $300 million by the end of his second term, according to Huffington Post. Trump's arrival at his golf course in West Palm Beach, Florida, on Saturday morning marks the 56th visit since his 2025 inauguration, and his 110th day of golf on the course that he owns, meaning he has played golf on more than 1/4 of his days since returning in presidency. Quote, at the time when gas prices are spiking and Americans across the country find themselves in an ever-worsening affordability crisis, the president has burned through over $100 million in taxpayer money in order to make promotional appearances at his golf course and hobnob with millionaires and billionaires. So, about not going to work and doing protests, and if you've got a conservative friend of yours that's supportive of Donald Trump, maybe make this number available to them. It might cause them problems.
It's the thing,
Well, I had
right?
an
It's
interesting-
become like it's a.
Go ahead.
It's become like it's like, yeah, the money is available for the presidential leisure, security convoys and luxury travel and properties, but everyone else, they need to accept the cuts and chaos and sacrifice their Medicare or their medical insurance and everything, and even like school meal programs, so the president can play golf.
Yeah.
And
Well,
impose a war in Middle East.
I firmly
Talk about
believe
being
that the arc
conservative.
of the moral universe is long but bends towards justice, which is a Peter Parker quote, and there will come a day when things like this will have justice, whether or not the person perpetrating these crimes and these calamities is around to see that. That's a different story, but definitely.
Remember when the Nazis said that they were just following orders?
Yeah.
Yes.
A couple things
this
from
is
the chat.
where. Go ahead.
Couple things from the chat. Zeralon mentioned, remember when Bush said he couldn't go golfing because he had troops in combat and couldn't be golfing while U.S. troops were dying? Yeah, topical. Also, a couple of things in response to Dapper from Chrissy in the chat. Hi, say hi, everybody. Hello. Good to see you. Thanks for coming by.
Hi.
To respond to Dapper, this is why capitalism functions the way it does. By starving people who don't obey, eventually the strikers and protesters have to go back to work. Without the workers working, food doesn't get transported, stores dry up, etc. The infrastructure is set up specifically so that protests cannot be lasting, which is why reform is so ineffectual through protests and strikes. We have more incentive to eat than we do to reform. Yeah, it's definitely set up, it's purposefully set up in a way to make it at least difficult, if not impossible, for long-term issues, right?
But a lot of great change occurs not by humongous acts of significance, but by little acts, and it's the little acts there. So not being okay with what's going on, and doing what little you can is very important. You may not be the thing that changes it, but you will be part of the force behind it. And I want to encourage you to go ahead.
That brings up actually a really good point. So a lot of times when you're reading history, especially like pop level history, you get what historians call the great man theory of history, where we talk about like President so-and-so did a thing, and it was the reason that such and such a thing happened. In reality, it's very rare that like a guy does a thing, therefore society changes. That almost never happens. What actually happens is people just do what they can to make what changes they can, to destabilize what they don't like, to promote what they do like. And over time, that force of just lots of people working towards the same goal is what ends up changing things. So what that ties into is, I wish I remember the name of it, but you can find it online. there is a World War II document written, ironically enough, by the United States government about ways that you can reasonably safely disrupt fascist organizations around you.
Yeah.
Things like always work at the slowest pace that won't get you in trouble. If you're working in an organization that is helping to support fascism and you can't realistically get out of it. Or always make sure that you tie down superiors with endless questions about what to do, how to properly perform various tasks. Always make the maximum number of mistakes that you can make safely. Just always be the biggest pain in the ass that you can without turning that into you now no longer have a livelihood.
Weaponized bureaucracy, lawful good,
And I think
also
malicious compliance.
And
There's also
understand that history goes through ebbs and flows. We've had better times, we had worse times, right? It's not a case that this is the worst thing, but you can make little additions because, again, great change starts with lots of little. I don't accept what's going on. I don't like what's going on, and little pushes. And you can be part of those little pushes. You may not be the one who finally causes it to flip, but you can be part of the push to change.
Next up, we got one more, and then we'll take a quick break for everybody to refill their drinks. We have
just one more point, if I can.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead, Maanyaa.
So what is also happening here is if we notice that there's a merge happening between a public office and a private brand maintenance, right? And what Trump is sending out the message is, you want something to change, just pay me money for my personal brand maintenance, and I will make it happen for you. That's what the message is going out at this point. And it's the same thing that people in France were mad about. It was about Marie Antoinette saying, let them eat cake if they don't have bread. That's where it's heading towards now. So yeah, Americans, especially conservatives, if this is what you want, okay, fine.
And before we go on break, I'd like to note that we're at 490 subscribers. There are probably at least 10 people here who could click subscribe. And let me understand, when you say subscribe, it's not like you have a magazine subscription where you have trouble unsubscribing. And YouTube word.
In fact,
really
YouTube
bad.
might just
It really
unsubscribe you without your knowledge.
It might. So what subscribe really means is I like this channel. So if you could click the subscribe button,
Fight the algorithm.
we have enough people that we get to 500, which is a nice, algorithmic turning point, and you can do it while you're waiting for stuff.
All right.
Please.
Anthropic rejects. Anthropic rejects the latest Pentagon offer. Quote, we cannot in good conscience accede to their request. Anthropic is rejecting the Pentagon's latest offer to change their contract, saying the changes do not satisfy the company's concerns that AI could be used for mass surveillance or in fully automated weapons. The Pentagon and Anthropic are at odds over restrictions the company placed on the use of Claude, the first AI system to be used in the military's classified network. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth told Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei, I did my best Tuesday that if Anthropic does not allow its AI model to be used, quote, for all lawful purposes, end quote. Yeah, Pete, sure. The Pentagon. Yeah, right. The Pentagon would cancel Anthropic's $200 million contract. In addition to the contract's cancellation, Anthropic would be deemed a supply chain risk, a classification normally reserved for companies connected to foreign adversaries, the Pentagon official said. Anthropic said in a statement that the Pentagon's new language was framed as a compromise, but, quote, was paired with legalese that would allow those safeguards to be disregarded at will. End quote. In a lengthy blog post on Thursday, the owner of, is he the CEO? Sorry, what was he? CEO, yeah. The CEO of Anthropic said Anthropic understands that the Pentagon, quote, not private companies make military decisions, end quote, but, quote, in a narrow set of cases, we believe AI can undermine rather than defend democratic values, end quote. He also said use cases like mass surveillance and autonomous weapons are, quote, outside the bounds of what today's technology can safely and reliably do. So if you want to read that one, I put it in the chat for you, but please go on. Yes.
I have a little inside information on this from somebody who's authorized me to tell them what Pete Hegseth heard, not necessarily from the CEO, but the expression, and I apologize for the swear words, but I'm just quoting. They said to Pete Hegseth, "What part of go fuck yourself do you not understand?" And then they started playing the South Park episode, which says Pete Hegseth is a fucking douche, and you should and played it to him to make sure he understood, because he's thick, that they weren't going to do it. So he has been offended. His feelings have been hurt, and now this was not the CEO. This was not there, but this was delivered to him, and they had that South Park episode. So go and check out the South Park episode with that particular song. Pete Hegseth is a fucking douche, and if you ever have a chance to meet Pete Hegseth, you might hum that tune.
So it's a private entity that's like, trying to do national security business without surrendering every ethical red line. That state wants to be removed, and so it's like, oh my god, like
there are, for example, hardware home improvement stores that have cameras that are selling the information to people who monitor where you're going, right? And so the notion of the Fourth Amendment is not for sale is an act that's been trying to pass in Congress, but they haven't gotten it past the filibuster in the Senate. It would probably be vetoed by the idiot in chief, but yes.
Yeah, so it's
I would
like
say to Pete Hegseth, what part of go fuck yourself do you not understand?
This is the. I thought this was the land of America.
Sorry, that's I'm just quoting. I'm not swearing. I'm just quoting.
Right. This is the land of America. You can't just obtain someone's property without a search warrant or something like that. Right?
Insert.
So this is
insert. I thought this was America. South Park joke.
Right. and this is again. This is the dispute between conditional cooperation versus unconditional access. State access on top of that. It's like what the fuck?
And coercion. They're trying to blackmail and coerce this company into doing these things because of course they are. All right, do you guys want to take?
Go
ahead.
And one last thing.
I was just trying to quote.
One last thing, and that's where the question comes, isn't it? Who governs the governors? Who's governing these assholes to do the right thing? Voters, you fucking voters! You voted these assholes.
The crazy thing is, for me at least, first of all, I'm generally on team no abominable intelligence in my Mechanicus Minecraft server. So,
Yeah. Fair.
But basically, Pete Hegseth is like, hey, we want to do a Skynet, and the AI people are like, no, man, don't do a Skynet. That's a bad idea. And he's like, no, we're going to do a Skynet. And if you don't let us do a Skynet, we're basically declaring you enemies of the state.
Hooray!
Okay.
Yay.
I'm glad to know that the Secretary of Defense is pro-Skynet and that fucking Anthropic is anti.
I really hope if Pete gets what he's looking for, if he finds an AI company, I hope he's ready for all the fucking lawsuits that will be coming his way after that. I'm really, and who's gonna end up paying for that? The taxpayers.
Speaking of lawsuits,
just wait until Agent Orange throws him under the bus.
Yeah, I know, right? Speaking of lawsuits,
because remember, Donald Trump doesn't care about anything but himself.
No.
And Hegseth, if you think you got his protection, you're going to rue the day when you decided to suck up to his ego.
Speaking of lawsuits, we'll get to that right after this break. All right, go get your drinks. Go to your bathroom.
The No Kings protest
Okay.
in Minnesota, United States.
Yeah. And we are back. Hi.
Hey.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi. Hi. Hello. Hi. Hi. Hello. Hi.
Hello. Check out
Hello.
that video link if
Yeah,
you wanted to see the video that Pixeth was shown from Health Park.
Wonderful. All right. Lawsuits, right? We wanted to do lawsuits next.
Yes, let's do lawsuits.
Okay, here we go. This is like legal news type stuff and things. All right, this is gonna be like, you bear with me. So the first one is there's a bill on track. Bill to track transgender Tennesseans passes in the House. Boo! Boo! Anti-trans laws, boo! So if anybody tries to tell you that the United States isn't passing anti-trans laws, they're lying to you. And these are passing at the state level. Tennessee lawmakers soon track the number of trans patients seeking gender-affirming care. Amid a crowd of chanting protesters, the state house passed legislation Thursday that would compile data on trans Tennesseans. State troopers carried one protester out of the House gallery in accordance with rules against vocal protest. Because they're losers.
Losers. Fucking losers.
Would also expand healthcare coverage for people detransitioning to require clinics to report who is accessing gender-affirming care. The data would be de-identified, Faison said on the House floor, meaning the reports would not include names, social security numbers, or geographical information.
Sure.
Quote, collecting data gives us the ability to study trends, outcomes, and effectiveness on treatment without knowing who the patient is, Faison said. After the vote, Faison told WPLN, which is the news network we're looking at right now, that he believes gender-affirming care will eventually fall out of fashion, and so it's important to collect as much data as possible. How about you go fuck yourself, bruh? I think Landon's talking, but we can't hear him.
People are people. That's just it. That's all you need to know.
Yep.
Trans rights are humans' rights. People are people. I'm all for people like choosing to give over information for studies and things like that, but that is definitely not the state tracking you. Yeah, that is, and voluntarily, yes.
Also, one important thing to remember is that we know where tracking of people goes, right? Especially tracking of people whom the powers that be deem undesirables, which is what's happening right here. Let's not beat around the bush here. It ends in camps, and it ends in gas chambers and furnaces. We know that's where it goes, right? Whether it is you're wearing a pink triangle or a gold star or anything else, or you're being tracked for research purposes against your will by the state, we know where that goes. This is the first step towards effectively a genocide. It should be opposed. If you know anyone who is trans, whom you care about, you should be deeply concerned about this.
Yeah. Yep. And this is part of the fascist playbook,
Actually,
which is to say, you are suffering
that.
because of them.
I don't give a shit if you know someone who's trans that you care about. You should care deeply about this regardless, because trans people are humans, and you should just care about humans not suffering from a genocide. So my apologies to anyone who might have just taken that as if Dapper's saying, well, if you don't know any trans people, you don't have to care. You absolutely do have to care.
Oh
because
my
not
god, you
caring is how we
absolutely
get
have to.
in trouble.
Guys, it's the poem. It's the poem in real time.
Yep.
It's the combination. This combination is very politically, revealing, if I might dare say. It's letting the supporters of this, to present this bill as some sort of compassionate and evidence driven, but it's still centered on detransition and regret and reversal. That's the main point, right? And that is where it will start from, and then those numbers, they will be able to weaponize them against the transitioners.
Remember,
right?
The people
because
who
the
complain.
That's what. Hold on, let me just finish at this point, because they're not asking for transitioning numbers. So what they would say is, look, we have the data on how many people are detransitioning. So this is just a fad. We have to protect people who are transitioning because they will regret it later and detransition. It's so clear what this is aiming for in the future.
Yeah.
Because they will say, oh, there's no data pointing towards transitioning, but we have data towards regret and reversal. So, it's going to happen anyway. So we need to protect people and stop them from transitioning. I'm repeating myself. Please go on.
Your pauses are too long. I always think you're about to be, you're done talking, and you never are. You have to take shorter pauses.
You have a lot to say, Maanyaa. That's okay.
I'll try.
So the thing I wanted to point out is, so a lot of times one of the things you'll hear from the anti-trans lobby is, why should I care about a group that's such a vanishingly small percentage of the population? Okay, to those people, I want to point out the number of people who transition and then regret that decision and decide to transition back among trans people is similar to the proportion of trans people in the general population anyway. And yet, for some reason, you care about those people more than the vastly larger number of people who transition, stay transitioned their entire lives, and report having a better life afterwards and stay that way. That is the normal thing that happens when someone transitions. Because it turns out, not very many, if any, people are transitioning because it's trendy or they were brainwashed by their liberal parents. That's not a thing.
Yeah, that's not a thing that's really actually happening, but that's what propaganda is. All right, next up. House committee votes, and somebody brought up Pam Bondi earlier. House committee votes to subpoena Attorney General Bondi to answer questions over the Epstein files. Because guess what, motherfuckers? None of us are forgetting about the Epstein files. That's not going to happen. That doesn't matter.
Launch as many wars as you want. I'm not going to forget about the fact that Donald Trump is a pedophile.
Yup. That's not going to go away. Yep.
Oh, he's both. Yeah,
and
he's both.
Wasn't this woman just like voted out or something off her position?
She was kicked out.
No.
She got yeeted.
Kicked
No,
She
Christy
got
Nome.
voted out?
Christy Nome got yeeted. Pam Bondi's still there. I will
Christy
remind
Nome,
you.
She's still there?
Yeah,
Christy Nome
for
is now
now.
heading up the Shield of the Americas, which is a thing that was made up to give Christy Nome a job so that no one had to say that she was fired. That's
Also, Pam Bondi is the one that's got the ties with Scientology that I've talked about with Chris Shelton on this channel before. Chris Shelton and I have done a good handful of conversations about MAGA and Trump and coercive control and cult of personality type stuff. I definitely recommend you check it out. It's just in the library of streams we've already done, so go check those out if you got some free time. But
I'm gonna talk to Chris again. I like Chris.
Yeah, do it. Chris is great.
Channel.
Yeah. He's actually got the manuscript of his new book finished, I think. So that should be out soon. So for anybody's interested in that.
I told Chris when we talked that I've been watching him for several years.
Oh yeah.
Wondering, could I come up with an excuse to actually have a conversation with him? He was like, really? The same thing happened with me and Jackson. It turns out we both were watching each other for like over a year before we ever actually talked.
That's lovely. Okay, the House Oversight Committee voted Wednesday to subpoena Attorney General Pam Bondi to answer questions over the Justice Department's handling of the files regarding the Jeffrey Epstein sex trafficking investigation. 5 Republicans joined Democrats to support the subpoena proposed by the GOP Representative Nancy Mace in a sign of continued frustration among conservatives with the department's review and release of a I don't know this word. What is this word? Tranche. I've never seen this word before.
Tranche. Or tranche. If you want to be super Anglo about it. It's French.
Oh. It's French.
Oh my god.
Tranche.
Yeah. That's all you have to say is, it's French. Just don't worry about it.
I'm Canadian. I should know. What does it mean? What's the definition?
It's like a collection. I don't know.
Finds meaning, examples, and what? The first is complexity, where an assist is made up from tranches of other assets to a. I don't know. I don't know what this word means. If you know what this, if you can give me a definition for this word, I would greatly appreciate it. Released a tranche of documents related. I'm assuming like it means they release a bunch of them all at once. Of documents related to the disgraced financier. The move amounted to a sharp rebuke of Bondi by Republicans who have been clamoring for information about Epstein's abuse of young girls and his interactions with rich and powerful people. Quote, "The American people want answers on the Epstein files, and so do we," Mace of South Carolina posted on Twitter, currently known as X.
Yeah. By the way, tranche is sort of like a slice of something. One of the early meanings was a slice of like sirloin
pieces of.
It's like like a block of assets might be a tranche of your portfolio.
So they released portions of the Epstein files. That makes sense. Okay. Thank you.
And it's also like, it's because I think so this is a good subpoena because it's not just about like, oh, what did Epstein do? It's about like, how is Department of Justice handling withholding, redacting, managing and releasing these files? It's important that also, how do they handle politically explosive information? Are they biased in any way? So that's why the subpoena is good, because if it's going to haunt like Republicans now, something like this can haunt Democrats later. You never know. So but it has been a bipartisan like pain in the ass, if I'm not wrong, to get this achieved.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Also,
Well, it turns out
go ahead.
a large section of the Republican Party are just pedophiles, as it turns out.
As we've been learning,
it turns out that like the idea that there was like a secret cabal of pedophiles was true to some extent, except it wasn't the Democrats, it was just the Republicans. And at this point, pedocon theory isn't like a theory so much as it is just an open fact that's very obvious.
Okay, so
there's no reason... Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead. Just
the ongoing Epstein stuff. Epstein victims get a $72.5 million from the Bank of America settlement. So, Bank of America has agreed to pay victims of notorious sex offender Jeffrey Epstein $72.5 million to settle a class action lawsuit alleging that the bank facilitated his sex trafficking operation, a New York federal court filing showed Friday evening. The settlement, in which BOA, Bank of America, did not admit wrongdoing, is the fourth settlement by a major bank of legal claims by Epstein's victims or a government entity alleging they effectively abetted his trafficking while he was a customer. The settlement with the BOA must be approved by the U.S. District Court in Manhattan Judge Jed Rakoff. Such approval is typically granted. The settlement would pay, quote, all women who were sexually abused or trafficked by Epstein or by any person who is connected to or otherwise associated with Jeffrey Epstein or any Jeffrey Epstein sex trafficking venture between June 30th of 2008 and July 6th of 2019 inclusive, according to the filing. Lawyers in this case are, quote, aware that there are at least 60 women who were victimized by Epstein between those dates, the filing said. A Bank of America spokesperson in a statement said, quote, while we stand by our prior statements made in this the filing of this case, including that Bank of America did not facilitate sex trafficking crimes, the resolution allows us to put this matter behind us and provides further closure for plaintiffs. CNBC has requested for comment from two law firms that represented the victims of the suit filed in October of 2025. And there's prior, like JP Morgan in June agreed to pay $290 million settlement. There was another bank that also said $75 million. So yeah, good.
So it's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's funny like how like
good
these
news,
big
everyone.
institutions, they can just deny any direct wrongdoing, It's
with
like,
the settlement,
we're just gonna pay you money. Yeah, pay you money to stay quiet, and I'm just like, God dang, that's so wrong. It's so wrong.
Well, one thing
It's
is
wrong.
Refusing to admit fault is also not exactly the same thing as having like an NDA or a gag order. So it's not.
Hopefully, there's no NDA
necessarily true. Yeah, hopefully there isn't. I'm not a huge fan of lawsuit settlements in which like people are barred from talking about what happened to them. That's actually one of the ways that to bring back Scientology that they've managed to get away with things is by getting people to sign draconian NDAs and then threatening them if there's any hint that they might be violating them. But also, like, you don't do a multi tens of millions of dollar settlement because you're confident that you didn't do any wrongdoing.
And that you would win a lawsuit.
Right.
It's not exactly a PR stunt.
Let's be very clear that what is going on here is that the Bank of America doesn't want to have to be able to admit anything because they're worried about future lawsuits, not because they think it's actually that people are going to believe they didn't do anything wrong.
Do you want to have some other fun news?
Yes, please.
I like fun.
Let's bully Elon Musk. Elon Musk misled Twitter investors ahead of the $44 billion acquisition, jury says. Oh.
No.
That's I don't believe that for a second.
No
Honest to
way.
God, no.
Remember in the past couple of years, I keep saying over and over and over again that Elon Musk doesn't have any money because it's all going to get eaten up by the billions of lawsuits that he's going to lose.
He's okay with it though.
Well, also, he doesn't have any money now. He's actually
Yep.
cash poor. His alleged net worth is a paper valuation of absurd things of a.
You mean it's
SpaceX
just
and
lines on paper?
Tesla
Thanks,
that
Ken.
sucks. That the only reason why he can do something is he gets con people into giving him loans based upon alleged value of his assets. If you fairly evaluate the profitability of his companies and look at the balance sheets, you find that this dude doesn't have much money. He's not the richest person. He's actually he might actually be even underwater. I don't know that for certain, but he's certainly not in the top 10 wealthy people. He likes to pretend that way.
He's under the sand of Saudi Arabia. A new.
And this guy loves fascists.
Oh yeah,
Allegedly.
a
It's not
jury
even like
in
he did a fucking Nazi salute, man.
he
at
did
the
do that.
inauguration.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
What? There's no allegations.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
that's not even alleged. A jury in California found that Elon Musk defrauded Twitter shareholders during the run-up to his $44 billion acquisition of the social media company, according to a verdict issued on Friday. Total damages could reach up to $2.6 billion, attorneys for the plaintiff said. The class action lawsuit, Pampina versus Musk, was originally filed in October of 2022 after Musk completed his purchase of Twitter for $54.2 per share. He later renamed the company X before merging it with his artificial intelligence company XAI and then with SpaceX, his reusable rocket manufacturer. Quote, "This is a great example of what you cannot do to the average investor. People have 401ks, kids, pension funds, teachers, firemen, nurses," Joseph Kotchet, an attorney for the Twitter investors, told CNBC. At the San Francisco courthouse, quote, "That's what this case is all about. This was not about Musk. It was about the whole operation," end quote. In an emailed statement, Musk's attorney, Quinn Emanuel, said, quote, "We view today's verdict where the jury found both for and against the plaintiffs, against where, and found no fraud scheme as a bump in the road, and we look forward to vindication on appeal," end quote. After Musk bid to buy Twitter in April of 2022, his sentiment towards the deal quickly soured as he cast doubt on the company's claimed level of bots, spam, and fake accounts on its platform. Musk wrote in a tweet the following month that his acquisition was temporarily on hold until Twitter CEO could prove its inauthentic account levels were around 5% reported by the company's SEC filings. Musk's tweet, in addition to comments, sent shares of Twitter sliding by almost 10% in a single session. The jury deliberated for 4 days and unanimously found that Musk's tweet on May 13th and May 17th were materially false or misleading.
Wow.
So basically, he used Twitter to tank Twitter stock to buy Twitter. Which, low-key kind of big-brained. Kind of smart, actually.
Also, Twitter is now almost all bots, as near as I can tell.
Oh yeah, the bot level on Twitter is now, currently known as X, is now
plague.
exploded, yeah.
Happy to dead name it as Twitter, but yes, certainly they make money. They sell bot services, and so people like Vladimir Putin have bots that try to influence people in order to do Putin's bidding. It's part of the Gentlemen of Putin organization's influence on the world. And so I would recommend, don't use Twitter. Just delete, just stop using it and let those bots troll someone else, in my opinion, allegedly.
How long until Twitter is just bots responding to bots?
Dead internet theory Twitter.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. In other good news about tech companies getting bonked on the head by legal stuff, campaigners welcome Meta and YouTube's defeat in landmark social media addiction trial.
Yes.
Huh.
Okay, sorry, that was demonic.
Look, don't get addicted to YouTube unless it happens to be Dapper Dinosaur or Goblin Q Chesh or Debate Hub. Those are the
Yeah.
only ones you're allowed to be addicted to.
Yeah.
And those are good addictions. They'll make you healthier and sexier, and
Yep.
you'll get laid at least 30% more.
Yep.
Don't let the bot
It's true.
choose your content.
I tested it. I
Do
counted.
your own choices. And I would recommend one of the choices is to subscribe to Dr. Dinosaur's channel because you'll learn something.
Parents and campaign groups seeking tighter restrictions on social media have welcomed a Los Angeles jury hand down an unprecedented win for a young woman who sued Meta and YouTube over her childhood addiction to social media. Jurors found that Meta, which owns Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, and Google, owner of YouTube, intentionally built addictive social media platforms that harmed the 20-year-old's mental health. The woman known as Kaylee was awarded $6 million, or 4.5 million pounds, in damages, a result likely to have implications for hundreds of similar cases now winding their way through the U.S. court. Meta and Google said they disagree with the verdict and intended to appeal. Of course they did. Nobody cares. Meta said, quote, teen mental health is profoundly complex and cannot be linked to a single app. You are not a single app, Meta, you fucking liars.
Jeez.
You
Well, the
are
thing is,
God.
It's not even a
Apps
lie. It's just
running
irrelevant.
through.
Yeah.
Like, technically,
And
it's true.
also-
You probably can't link it to one app, but that's like 8.
It's also not the argument. Quote, we will continue to defend ourselves vigorously as every case is different and we remain confident in our record of protecting teens online. Do they have a good record?
No.
I don't think they have a good record for that. All
Where'd
right.
that come from? Yeah, where's the report? I would love to see that report, you fucking assholes.
Listen, we investigated ourselves and found we did nothing wrong.
Yeah, and
How
it's also
convenient.
like, yeah, you can stop pretending that you merely host content, all right? You the accusation here is that you are engineering addictive products. That's the accusation. And you're trying to hide behind the fact that, we just host services, and what do you say, content. Yeah, right. And you don't engineer algorithms, so that content is the most clicked on. You fucking
Well,
assholes.
yeah, that's their attempt
right.
at shielding themselves. Is like, well, we didn't produce any of this addictive content. No, but you prioritize the most addictive content as what people are going to see first.
Pay you to
And
do
you
that.
prioritized it because you thought you would make money off of it. So not only
Right.
did you prioritize, but you enjoyed the profit of it.
And it also means that you're pushing creators through having to deal with the algorithm to make their content as addictive as possible. Like, most YouTubers don't want to make a YouTube video that cuts every 1.5 seconds. But
Yeah.
But speaking of
kinda
which,
have
don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. A spokesperson for Google.
In more subscriptions, and they're not really subscriptions, they're just, I like it. Chesh will be very happy and will throw a party. Elizabeth.
Yeah, probably.
One
Yeah,
away, if I'm not wrong, from 500.
that'd be pretty hype.
One away from 500.
A spokesperson from
Let's
please.
go.
You could be, if you're the 500th person, we'll say, hi.
I won't be able to tell you who the 500th person is. Sorry.
YouTube isn't that granular.
Yeah, no. A spokesperson for Google said, quote, this case misunderstands YouTube, which is a responsibly built streaming platform, not a social media site. Sure, Google. Well, apparently they tried. No, apparently they tried to demonstrate it in this lawsuit and failed. But speaking to BBC Breakfast, Ellen Room, who is herself suing TikTok after the death of her son, said the case was an enough moment. Quote, how many more children are going to be harmed and potentially die from these platforms, she asked. It's been proved it's not safe. A social media company needs to fix, and social media companies need to fix it. There's more to this, obviously, but it makes a really good point about specifically, I mean, something that I talk about a considerable amount, but like on my own channel, is the weaponization of social media when it comes to people like Joe Rogan, and how dangerous and irresponsible they are, and how Spotify and YouTube need to be responsible for it, not necessarily Joe Rogan himself, because he's already proven to be not responsible. Another example is like on online harassment. We followed online harassment cases where people get bullied and harassed to the point of suicide or other things. And this is something that the government needs to step in and make laws to hold social media companies and companies like Google accountable for what's on their platforms. It's really not that complicated. It's easier said than done, but it's not a complicated concept.
There was another
Again, I will say,
jury in New
I think
Mexico.
somebody just made 500 for you, Chesh.
Yay! I hope so. Hooray! If we hit 500,
hooray.
thank you very much. If not, keep going, guys. Keep going anyway. Keep going. Keep coming.
500 subscribers.
So-
Thank you. Who were the 500? Let us know if you think you're the
Thank
500th
you,
person. We'll
guys.
say yay.
Yay. Also, a jury in New Mexico separately found Meta liable for harming children's mental health and safety, and they imposed a $375 million in penalties under state law.
Whew.
You know, and there are other multiple youth harm cases that are still pending. So,
Yep.
hey, Meta, Facebook, get ready, you assholes.
And be aware that this is a state level thing if you are in the United States, and this is not just applicable in the United States. There was also a raid that happened, I think it was either the end of last month or the beginning of this month, where in France they raided a Twitter office. So this is not don't feel like this is something you have to rely on your shitty federal government for. This is something that can be done on
Twitter
a local
also-
level. Yeah, go ahead.
If I remember correctly, Twitter also got in some pretty hot water in Australia because it turns
Mm-hmm.
out that if Grok generates CSAM, that CSAM
Yep.
gets stored or is accessible from Australia, that's taken as exactly the same as just having a CSAM of actual children on
Yeah.
your server or available to Australians,
in
which
Australia,
is
yeah.
super a big deal. That's not
Yeah.
okay.
Even animated is considered CSAM in Australia.
Yep.
So
Yeah, in Canada as well, actually. If you were to illustrate something, that is also considered legitimate.
No, see, you guys don't get it. She's actually 1,000 years old. She's just trapped in the body of a 14-year-old.
Oh yeah, of course. Also that. All right. Next up is judge sides with New York Times in challenge to policy limiting reporters' access to the Pentagon. Kind of a little bit of a big deal considering with a war going on. So Pete Hegseth being a stupid loser. A federal judge agreed Friday to block the Trump administration from enforcing a policy limiting news reporters' access to the Pentagon, agreeing with the New York Times that key portions of the new rules are unlawful. U.S. District Judge Paul Friedman in Washington, D.C. sided with the newspaper and ruled that the Pentagon policy illegally restricts the press credentials of reporters who walked out of the building rather than agree to the new rule. The Times sued the Pentagon and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth in December, claiming the credentialing policy violates the journalist's constitutional right to free speech and due process. The current Pentagon press corps is comprised mostly of conservative outlets that agreed to the policy. Reporters from outlets that refused to consent to the new rules, including from the Associated Press, have continued reporting on the military. The Defense Department has been letting some of the legacy media reporters that didn't agree to the restriction back into the Pentagon for some of the Hegseth-Iran war briefings. Hegseth rarely calls on them, although he did recently take questions from reporters like Eric Schmidt of The Times and Luis Martinez of ABC. Good that they're losing, at least in a lot of things from the legal standpoint.
It's actually been kind of refreshing that the judiciary in the United States has been one of the only institutions that's been even somewhat reliably standing up to all these fascist power grabs. And it's not completely reliable, but it at the very least means that even many of the Republican appointees, because a lot of the judges have even been Trump or Bush appointees, even they are this is beyond the pale. This is not okay.
Yeah.
You can't that's no. And
Something freedom
It's
of the
good.
press.
Yeah, it's good that the judge recognized it, that it's not just security management. It's it's totally an unconstitutional mechanism, to control access to criticism and scrutiny. That's what it is. And I'm glad the judge recognized that. So Landon is humming away. He wants to say
What he's
something.
humming though. He's humming the Pete Hegseth is a stupid piece of shit. Fuck Pete Hegseth song.
Yep.
Oh, I see.
Pete Hegseth is the reason why me as a Canadian, I'm not concerned about the United States invading Canada. This man could not win a war with a wet paper bag.
Yeah. He is pretty useless. Also, hey, if you want to know who Pete Hegseth is, I would encourage you to take a look at the pictures of him topless, because those are a thing that you can find easily.
Yep.
This guy has a number of tattoos that are associated with white Christian nationalism.
Yep.
Yeah.
Also,
They're
like,
not, they're not as
if I'm
obvious
not
as
wrong-
swastikas, but like they're not far off either.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I'm also not wrong, the judge said that the policy failed to give a fair notice of what routine and lawful journalistic practices are. That will lead to
Sure.
penalties. It's just vague.
Yeah.
It's just like vague rules. And it's like, but selective enforcement. It's like, can you give the guys a chance at least to
No.
because it's just them being like pieces of shit and they just don't want to answer like tough questions. That's all it is.
So
The thing is, we all know what he means when he says fair journalistic practices. It means being unable to take Trump's cock out of your mouth.
yeah. Don't worry. You think we went after Elon. You think we went after Twitter. You think we're going after the courts. We didn't forget about you, Apple. Apple's hide my email isn't as anonymous as it sounds. Court filings show Apple provided the real addresses behind aliases to the FBI. Federal investigators were able to trace an anonymous email sent using Apple's privacy feature, Hide My Email, back to its source after Apple provided the real iCloud address linked to the disguised sender, according to new filed court records. The disclosure offers a rare glimpse at how Apple cooperates with law enforcement requests and what the company can reveal about data generated through its privacy tools. You mean reveal data about what the company can reveal about data generated through its privacy tools? Guys! Well, the move aligns with Apple's long-standing compliance practices. The case highlights the limits of anonymity under the iCloud Plus Hide My Email option. According to the affidavit, the FBI sought information during a probe into a threatening message received by Alexis Wilkins, a girlfriend of FBI Director Kash Patel. The email sent from the address, blah, 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 reads, quote, "Do you know how happy I'll be when your cunt-ass face is canoed by an assault rifle, TikTok bitch, watch your back," end quote. The document identifies person one as Wilkins and includes the explicit language of the threat, which references a slang term for the mutilation of a victim's head. Court records indicate that after investigators traced the email to Apple, the company provided information linking the account to an account belonging to somebody named Alden. According to the affidavit, Apple's records also showed that the same account had created 134 anonymized email addresses through the Hide My Email service. When questioned, Alden admitted to sending the threatening email. According to the affidavit, he allegedly told investigators that he was motivated by a February 28th news article describing the FBI's efforts to provide personal security for Alexis Wilkins. Although the affidavit does not specify which report he referred to, the New York Times published a story that day outlining Kash Patel's order for federal agents to transport his girlfriend to errands and events. Anyway, it doesn't do what it says it does.
No.
Get fucked.
No, and this actually also ties into something regarding that whole, like, hey, ways to resist fascism. One of the big ways is do not comply in advance.
Yep.
I am not saying break laws and put yourself in prison for no reason, but when it comes to things like, hey, we need you to give us this information, the response is, do you have a warrant?
Yeah.
Yes.
Or,
Well
hey,
said.
we
Well
would
said.
appreciate
Well
it if, people could be aware of such and such and report it to us. You are not aware of that. You didn't see it.
Yeah.
So
And understand, if you put on the internet, you are making it public, whether you think you are or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't want it, known, don't put it on the computer. If you deal with sensitive information, you find that entering a computer is the beginning of that information getting leaked. So just don't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And while I'm not going to condemn someone for these actions, it's really dumb to send the girlfriend of the FBI director a death
Yeah.
threat. Like,
Yeah.
just don't. It's real dumb. It's not going to help
It doesn't.
anything.
Yeah, it doesn't help anything. There's no value to it. It doesn't do anything.
It's
Protest,
just
like,
going to get you in trouble.
yeah, do like legitimate protests. Don't like anything like that is just gonna be wasting your time and harming the actual good that might be being done. All right,
And
Judge.
don't get me wrong. I maintain my position that you cannot commit crimes against MAGA,
Yeah,
but
don't get yourself in
very
trouble
few
for no
judges-
reason.
very few judges are going to agree with me on that. So
Yeah. Judge pauses blockbuster merger between TV station owners Nexstar and Tenga. DirecTV challenge tie-up on antitrust grounds. A federal judge Friday to put a hold on the $6.2 billion merger between Nexstar Media Group and Tenga, a deal that would create the largest operator of local television stations in the country. Hey, so you guys remember earlier, a minute ago, or some people in the chat were talking about how MAGA and people, conglomerates, already control the media? Hey, speak of the devil! The
Okay,
U.S.
but
District
also,
Judge... Yeah, go ahead.
Chesh, the G comes before the N, and I'm
Yeah.
worried that instead of saying Tegna, which seems to be the
Tegna.
name of this company, you're
Tenga.
instead referencing a brand of disposable sex toys for use on penises.
You guys know exactly what I mean. I don't need to clarify that. U.S. District Judge Troy in California granted a request from DirecTV,
I broke Maanyaa.
which argued in a lawsuit that the pending merger violates federal antitrust laws. Eight attorneys general led by California's Rob Bonta filed a separate lawsuit on a similar legal grounds. Plaintiff asserts that proposed merger will drive up costs of television service for tens of millions of Americans, shutter local newsrooms around the country, substantially reduce competition in dozens of local markets, and harm consumers. Something, something, something free market, something, something capitalism, blah, 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 blah.
Oh, something, hollowing out the local journalism.
Yeah, go figure. Who could have possibly foreseen this? On the other hand, Finland to audit whether the United States is actually delivering NATO-bought weapons to Ukraine.
You think about this thing, but I see where you're going with this.
Oh, okay. What has been promised to Ukraine must reach Ukraine. Finnish defense minister announcing that Helsinki will audit U.S. compliance with contracts under which European NATO members purchased weapons for Ukraine from American suppliers. So I want to take this moment. Excuse me, hold on. Let me come up here for a second. Where am I? Here I am. Hi. Hello. Hi. It's me.
Hi.
Come here for a second. Hi.
Yes.
If you're in the United States and you have access to the internet, you have access to, information coming from outside of the United States, you should probably pay attention to it a little bit. It might be worthwhile to not rely on not just local news and not just like state or federal news, like your common news stations like MSNBC or whatever it is that you listen to, or Fox News or whatever. Maybe also consider consuming news that is being made by other countries so you can have a better grasp and you're not just huffing your own farts all the time. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. What do you got, Landon?
I was agreeing with you on that. And this is one of the reasons why looking at news around the world or watching other parliaments and governments, not because you like them, but because you get a different perspective, is there. It's also sometimes amusing and sometimes fun and educational.
I wanted to share a little bit of pro-trans news as well, since there was that anti-trans bill that we talked about right at the beginning to wrap up the lawsuit stuff, but I figured some positive trans news. Guelph, Ontario, I used to live there, model becomes first transgender person to walk Chanel exclusive runway at Paris Fashion Week. Congratulations, Dalton.
Nice. Congrats.
Yay! Very nice. Very cool.
When's the first dinosaur gonna walk?
I don't know. Get on it. That sounds like a you thing.
I mean,
I'm not pretty enough.
was a tractor for the last several hundred million years? Actually,
Look, Chanel hasn't existed for the past several 100 million years, Landon.
well, what was the first dinosaur? How long ago was that?
So that's a little tricky, but it was sometime in the late Triassic. So, like 250-ish million years ago.
Yeah, so they had 250 million years to push the fashion. So I hope they've done well during that period.
Well,
of time.
most dinosaurs, it turns out, are actually naturists, if you will.
Ah.
Naturalist, do you mean? Naturist?
No, not
Naturalist?
naturalist. Naturist. Naturist is a slightly more polite way to say nudist.
Oh, I see.
Said the person that's not a linguist.
That's not a linguist thing. That's just an English
You're
vocab.
saying something,
obscure
Tesh, we
stuff.
can't hear you.
It's okay. It's a little. I wanted to let Dapper finish anyway. This is a little bit more urgent news, so pay attention if you're in these areas. Nearly 900,000 bottles of children's ibuprofen
90,000.
was recalled due to foreign substances. The products were removed following complaints describing a gel-like mass and black particles in the medicine, said the FDA.
Oh.
So the U.S. Food and Drug Administration announced that nearly 90,000 bottles of children's ibuprofen sold nationwide have been recalled. As an enforcement report, the federal agency said that 9,592 bottles of Strides Pharma's children ibuprofen oral suspension are being recalled. All right? That's what's being recalled. So if you're in that area or if you've bought that recently, make sure to check and get that shit returned. Also, if you're in
52 bottles of ibuprofen on the shelf, take one down.
Good God.
One bottles of ibuprofen on the wall.
That's
COVID's
gonna be
back.
Landon's first video on
Yep.
his channel.
Yep. COVID's back also. New COVID variant has been identified and is already spreading in 25 states.
Oh, good.
Oh, good. Round 2, Electric Boogaloo. A new COVID variant is spreading across the United States, and it may be able to evade protection from current vaccines. The variant known as BA.3.2 has been detected in nasal swabs taken from 4 American travelers and clinical samples from 5 patients in 4 unidentified states. It's also been found in 3 airplane wastewater samples and 132 wastewater samples taken in more than 20 states, suggesting its reach is actually far more widespread than what scientists see right now. So I don't know if you guys noticed. I noticed that recently a handful of people have been like, hey, I got COVID. Oh, man, I got COVID. Oh, shit, I got COVID. Well, hey, guys, what up?
Yeah, there's a reason for that.
So, I think this is cases where the stuff mutates and things continue forward. Just like the influenza virus, the things in the southern hemisphere, allegedly, are things that the northern hemisphere detects and builds a vaccine to try to mitigate. And then the southern hemisphere takes this stuff to the northern hemisphere and does the same thing. It's back and forth. So having new stuff showing up and having to wait till the next thing is there. Nevertheless, if you do vaccinate against COVID, you have a better chance of surviving than if you don't.
Nope.
Yeah, don't feel the need to...
Brainworm, RFK Jr. idiot might say.
Yeah, I'm not telling anybody to panic, just to be aware. Yeah.
Mask up,
And
wash
also,
your hands.
hopefully, it's not gonna cause any, major severe illnesses. Hopefully, it's just a variant. Might have different symptoms or something like that, so might need a different type of education for it. So yeah, hopefully.
COVID has become significantly less lethal, but that's not a good reason to go get it.
Yeah.
Be
Also,
like me. Be a hermit.
in good news...
Nevertheless, if you're 39 years old, you should avoid contact with foreigners because, bad things might happen if your immune system isn't up to snuff.
In good news, we've covered and talked about this a little bit before, and we've talked about rhinos in the past. Uganda reintroduces rhinos into a protected area where they have been extinct since 1983. Look at that one's got a little thing on his butt.
What the hell is that?
Rhinos are cool.
It looks like a trank dart.
It looks like a trank dart.
I saw them in the wild, and they're fun critters.
They're fun from a distance.
Ugandan wildlife authorities have reintroduced...
I got petted a rhino because if you know how to approach them,
Couldn't be me.
Ugandan wildlife authorities have reintroduced rhinos into a remote protected area where they were once poached into extinction, an event seen by conservationists as a milestone in efforts to support the recovery of a species threatened by poaching. On Tuesday, 2 southern white rhinos from private ranch in the East African country were reintroduced to Capito, I'm probably not pronouncing that correctly, Valley National Park in the country's northeast. 2 more rhinos in metallic crates arrived there on Thursday. There have been no rhinos in Capito Valley Park since 1983, the result of poaching, but a private ranch in central Uganda, the Zwa Rhino Sanctuary, has been breeding the large animal since 2005. The program has succeeded over the years. Quote, "This moment marks the beginning of a new rhino story for Capito Valley National Park," said James, I'm not even going to try, executive director of the Ugandan Wildlife Authority. Quote, "We are deeply grateful to our conservation partners whose technical expertise, financial support, and logistical contributions have made this milestone possible." Congratulations. Hooray for rhinos. Rhinos in the chat, everybody.
And this is an important thing, that rhinos are people that are working hard to make rhinos stay around on the planet. I have done my part in that process, and you can too. One of the ways you can do this is to not engage in cryptocurrency, because if I've never mentioned it before, cryptocurrency is a scam. One of the scams that cryptocurrency does is takes people who poach rhinos for the purpose of taking their horn for stupid so-called traditional medicine that makes it think that their schlong gets better. That basically taking that stuff off the market, because essentially a lot of the rhinos are being killed by people that want to pay high money for their horn. The rhino that I got to meet was surrounded by a bunch of military people in a country that was trying to keep the last known rhino from being killed by poachers. So don't use cryptocurrency. Advocate for cryptocurrency to be banned, because one of the things cryptocurrency does is allows people to money launder stuff so that the rhino trade can keep going forward. It also helps fund the Ukraine war, and it helps fund the North Korean thing. But anyway, if you want to protect rhinos, don't engage in cryptocurrency. There are people that are working hard at trying to stop it. I did a lot of damage to a particular network indirectly because of things. But you can help save these creatures by not engaging in practices that promote the extinction.
Yes. Go ahead, Melania.
I really hope they can continue with the success, and they have enough resources to continue protecting the wildlife, and and be able to reintroduce more species as they go. So because Uganda, they need resources to be able to achieve all this. So I hope they have enough resources for this.
Yeah, congratulations to them. It's great news. Happy to hear it. We have in the chat a question that I want to answer real quick. They asked about a specific type of news. I believe they said intersex. I do not currently have any intersex stuff on the docket, but if you would like to submit something that you want us to talk about throughout a month, go to the Debate Hub community tab. So if you go to just the channel, click on the channel, there's a community tab. You go on that community tab, you guys can post there. So if you guys post there, I take a look through there, I breeze through that, and I pick up some of the stories that you guys want us to talk about, and it helps engage in conversation. There's some really good and interesting conversation happening over there already, so please go and check that out if you have something or you are looking to talk about anything in particular.
Yeah, tell us, because we can't cover everything. For example, we can't cover the fact that Iranian-backed hackers cracked Kash Patel's emails. So the FBI director who did stupid stuff, his emails were been disclosed. Don't look at them because that's illegal. But there's many things that are going on with regards to the Iran war or other things like that there's only a limited amount of time. So let us know if there's something you want us to cover, and Chesh will consider it.
Absolutely. Okay, also, so speaking of Iran, go ahead.
I was going to say, speaking of Iran, if you happen to be in the United States military right now,
Don't.
There are ways. Well, first of all, yeah,
Sorry.
don't join.
Sorry.
But there are ways to get yourself separated without just going AWOL. Look into them. There are groups that will help you with that, whether it be through conscientious objector status. You can. There's a number of ways. I don't know all of them, but like there are ways to get out of the military. Don't die for Israel's war of choice that Trump was stupid enough to join.
What an idiot!
You have your life is worth more than being thrown away on the altar of a genocidal Zionist regime.
So I'm going to burn through a couple of these really quick so we can talk about them because they're all kind of the same thing. So UK weeks away from medicine shortages if Iran war continues, experts say. Concern that supply chain disruption could hit health essentials and prices from painkillers to cancer treatment, as well as helium shortages has started impacting tech company supply chains, execs say.
Big deal. That's a big deal. You think that you say, "Oh, I don't need medicine," but the pouders and stuff you're running on depends a lot on helium, and the helium.
This one is.
I might actually.
Yep.
I might check for my anti-anxiety meds and see if I can get my second round.
This one is specifically Britain is a few weeks away from medicine shortages ranging from painkillers to cancer treatments if the Iran war continues, according to experts, while drugs prices could also rise. The conflict has disrupted the supply of a myriad of crucial raw materials, including oil, gas, crop fertilizer, and helium, and health essentials could be next. For helium shortages, the tightened supply of helium due to the Middle East conflict has started affecting some production in the global tech supply chains, leaving companies scrambling to secure alternative supplies, industrial executives say. Helium is used in several key stages of chip making, including cooling, leak detection, and precision manufacturing process, and its prices have soared since the Middle East crisis began. Next is the Iran war chokes petrochemical supply, sending plastic prices soaring. So as much as everybody is hearing oil, gas price, bitch, it's everything.
Plastic it comes from petrochemicals, so deal with it.
Disruptions to oil and petrochemical flows through the Strait of, how do you pronounce it, Dapper?
Hormuz.
Hormuz. I'm gonna ask the two white guys instead of the brown lady.
Well, I mean, it's not like Maanyaa knows Farsi, as far as I know.
I did it on purpose for a joke. Maanyaa, how do you pronounce this?
Which one? This one? It's Hormuz. Straight up Hormuz.
Everyone disagrees.
Hormuz. I don't know. I'm just gonna call it.
Person in here.
It's Hormuz.
Yeah.
It's Hormuz.
I think it's straight up Hormuz.
Hormuz.
Straight up.
Following the outbreak of the Iran war, tightened global chemical supplies and lifted prices of plastics and polymer used in everything from auto parts to toys to roughly 4-year highs. About $20 billion to $25 billion worth of petrochemical products pass through the strait annually, according to Rabobank, underscoring the fact that continued disruptions to the flow would push producers to pass the higher costs of consumers. I would like to point out this is roughly 4-year highs. That's 2020. That's COVID. That's when everything got fucked up because of COVID and that one boat getting stuck. So, do we have anything extra we want to say about any of these three things? It's everything.
I would think that the notion of fertilizer is very critical. Even if you say, well, we should be using, alternate fuels, which is important, there are things that petrochemical can only do, and one of those is fertilizing. Right? And the other bit has to do with the fact that helium often comes from petrochemical sources, and helium, while it's the second most abundant element on Earth, the ability to get it typically comes from what? Places where gas gets trapped underground, and those things are very vital for medical systems, for chip manufacturing, and for detection of people doing naughty things, like trying to smuggle something onto an airplane. So the helium is a very vital thing that people depend upon, and those supplies are being disrupted by PHEX and Agent Orange's security stuff, Not that I'm a fan of the Iranian regime, because they can go themselves, but nevertheless, it's affecting you. It's affecting your food safety. It's affecting your chips. It's affecting your ability to get something from a supplier, because the diesel is going through the sky roof stuff, and the guy who's the narcissist man child in the White House is panicking because he's trying to figure out whether the question I would ask to my federal panelists is this U.S. Iran war is beginning to affect real serious money. Do you think that real serious money will go to the White House and say, cut it out, you're affecting real stuff, get your act together, or do you think they will be able to pivot to the war profiteering and let it go forward? What do you think? What do you think
If I wanted to be optimistic, I would say this is a really good opportunity for a lot of big money investment that has been slowly changing over the years to make a more solid change away from the using oil for basically everything, and start to narrow what we use oil for. So when we are using plastics and we are using helium, it starts limiting it to like things that actually really need it, as opposed to, using gas to drive our cars. We shouldn't really be using gas. It's inefficient. It doesn't, we have better ways to be doing this. We shouldn't be doing it that way. So if I was being optimistic, then I would say, well, I hope they use it as a good place to pivot to varying energy sources and different chains, rather than just bully Donald Trump, which is, I think that's fine too. I mean, I think bullying Donald Trump is a valid way to live your life. But also, I imagine it's never the silver lining is lining for a reason, because it doesn't make up the whole cloud.
It's I think what Trump has done is, at this point, is he has completely isolated US now on the global stage, and he has told all of his allies that he cannot be trusted with important decisions. He cannot be trusted to listen to advice from his allies. He will just do whatever he wants. So Chair's saying that, yeah, we need to find alternatives to whatever America can affect with this stupidity is a good idea. And starting with petroleum, products and oil products is a very good way to start, because as soon as you stop depending on those products, I think so you like America has nothing to barter with anymore.
Yeah.
If their own oil reserves that they are sitting on, because of which they hold the dollar hostage, will be useless. So yeah, it's about time.
They're on a time scale. Yeah, there's the clock is ticking. What do you think,
The
Dapper?
clock is ticking. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, one thing is, while it has been stated a few times by a variety of morons and liars that this is not a regime change war, it very obviously is.
Yeah.
But rather than changing the regime, it has entrenched the most extremist parts of the regime.
Yeah.
And this has been,
Yep.
if you're someone who cares about the lives of the Iranian people, the people who were recently being shot at protests, this is possibly the worst thing that could have happened. Not only is that regime staying in power, although under new management, I suppose, but management that is, if anything, worse, they also now have to contend
And
with...
younger.
Yeah, and younger. They also now have to contend with foreign weapons being deployed against civilian targets. So if you support this war and you're someone who's ever said like, oh, I want, the Iranians to be able to be free and live in an open democracy or whatever, no, you don't. You fucking do not support that. So yeah, it's...
Because refusing to understand the nuances of Iranian political system, and they're just looking at it like through a black and white lens, is not going to help the Iranians at all. War
Right.
is
Yes.
not always good. Attacking a country that
almost never
has
good.
a demagogue is not always good. No, it's not. It was the same with Palestine, where people are saying, oh, Hamas was taking over Palestine and blah, 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 blah. attacking Palestine was not the solution by the Israel. It wasn't. So
Yep.
that's what it is. You have to start understanding
Yeah.
the nuances there. It's so much more than just like, oh yeah, war, good.
And understand that those people that are part of the Gentleman Putin organization called the GOP are not going to be able to say we are just following orders, right? We will use the Nuremberg process to say to people like Vance, you know better. You know what the idiot is doing in the White House, and you're going along with it. Rubio, you know better, and you're doing it anyway. You know, people like Mitch McConnell in the Senate, you know better, and you're letting it happen anyway. If you had some integrity and you're part of the Trump administration, you would resign. If you are part of the GOP and had some integrity, you would resign from the party and say, I oppose fascism. I oppose this narcissistic man-child who only cares about himself. Trump does not care about you, does not care about the United States. He does not want to make America great. He wants to make himself great, and you are just a pawn in the thing. So Vance and the GOP, they're following it. I will hold you accountable, and I encourage my voters to hold you accountable accordingly.
Dr. Kip is
Fingers away.
Dr. Kip is in the chat, and he says, damn it, I just realized I forgot to mention that I'm going to be on Misinterpretations this Tuesday night. Chesh, make the dinosaur stop so he can announce this. Hurry, Dapper, announce this.
Stop what? I'm just sitting here. But Kip's going to be on Misinterpretations on Tuesday, I guess.
Hooray!
So go look at that.
Yeah, and by the way, hi from the other side of Zeroth Avenue, Dr. Kip. Some point I would like to some point have a beer with you some point on the other side. In me at some point. Let's have a beer.
Okay, so there have been a couple of things where other countries have been reacting to the Iran war, right? So Thailand is negotiating agreements with Iran to use the Strait. The move is intended to help ease energy crunch in Southeast Asia. Russia also took satellite images of U.S. airbase in days before Iranian attack, says Zelensky. So go figure, this has an effect on the Ukraine war as well. And we're no Qatar, will beat the hell out of them. Pakistan warns Israel over the embassy strikes.
And then Ukraine, on the other hand, is going to Gulf states and say, hey, we've had long practice in trying to defend ourselves against the Iranian drones that Russia uses, and Gulf states are saying, hey, Iran, Iran is attacking us. Ukraine, can you give us information? So they are actually being brought in as advisors to help those states understand that, because they're suffering. And places like Dubai that claim themselves to be the safe haven are now realizing, oops.
That doesn't have water for toilets.
Following the reports of Israel's Israel-U.S. strike near the Pakistan embassy in the Iranian capital, Islamabad issued a stark warning to Israel over the safety of its diplomats, saying any threats to its officials, whether in Iran or elsewhere, would invite a sharp response. A statement from the government-affiliated Pakistan Strategic Forum said, quote, Israel must remember Pakistan is no Qatar. We will beat the hell out of them if they harm our diplomats anywhere in the world. Of course, there was also like a Qatar strike. That's what they're referencing. For Russia... sorry, go ahead about this one.
But Pakistan, you are no saint as well. You hold in a luxury compound the person responsible for North Korea having nuclear weapons, Iraq almost having nuclear weapons, Libya almost having nuclear weapons, Iran having nuclear abilities or ability to generate that. You are the ones that have blood on your hands, and yet you celebrate that person that gave you nuclear weapons as a national hero. Shame on you, Pakistan. You are protecting a person on whose on hands the bloods of millions of people will unfortunately be be there. So no, Pakistan, you don't get a pass from me. I hold you in contempt because you let Khan, you know who I'm talking about, live in lap of luxury, and he has done more than any single person to create a nuclear instability in the world. So shame on you, Pakistan. Your behavior of your government disgusts me. Your people are really nice, and some of my best friends are Pakistani, and and some of my best students are Pakistani. But your government sucks.
I feel like that's how everybody feels about the United States right now. Hey, I know some people from the United States. The Americans are great. They're just some wonderful people. Your government is a nightmare. Okay. Qatar, Russia took satellite images of a U.S. airbase in Saudi Arabia 3 times in the days before Iran attacked the site and wounded American troops, according to a summary of Ukrainian intelligence shared with NBC News by President Volodymyr Zelensky. In an interview in the Gulf nation of Qatar on Saturday, Zelensky said he was 100% confident Russia was sharing such intelligence with Iran to help target U.S. forces across the Middle East. Quote, I think that it's in Russia's interest to help Iranians, and I don't believe I know that they share information, he said. Do they help Iranians? Of course. How many percent? 100%. During the interview, Zelensky shared a summary of the daily presidential briefings he received from Ukraine's spy agencies. The report stated that Russia satellites had taken images of the Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia on March 20th, March 23rd, and March 25th. On March 26, Iran attacked the base, which hosts U.S. forces as well as Saudi troops. The strike wounded a number of American service members, 2 U.S. officials said Friday, though none of the injuries were considered life-threatening. So here's Zelensky, the good guy Zelensky over here, being like, guys, hey, blowing the whistle.
Hey, guys.
Did you notice?
Hey, guys, look, guys, over here.
Yeah.
What?
For other news in regards to this sort of around the world, Starmer has reaffirmed that the UK will not join Iran war despite US pressure. So I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but the Canadians and the Canadian politicians are like, fuck you, fuck no, we are not doing this. Not only should Canadians not be going to Iran to go die for somebody else's war, but also US citizens should not be going to go die for this war because it's ridiculous and absurd and no, this shouldn't be happening. So the Canadian politicians have been really, really aggressive about this, but I do know that Keir Starmer was a little bit less aggressive about saying no earlier, but he is reaffirming that the UK is not planning on joining the Iran war. So, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer doubled down on his refusal to involve the UK in the ongoing war against Iran, telling Sky News in Finland that there is a, quote, clear difference in opinion between London and Washington. Quote, I have been clear I'm not going to join the war, Starmer said, adding that much of the pressure he has faced is aimed at forcing him to reverse course. I'm not going to do so. Starmer's remarks came as relations between the two allies have grown strained, putting it lightly. President Trump had previously criticized the UK for initially denying access to British air bases in a joint US-Israeli airstrike that opened the conflict on February 28th. London later permitted base access for what it described as defensive operations after Iran launched retaliatory strikes across the Gulf. Despite the accommodation, Starmer has consistently ruled out direct British participation in the war. So take that for what you will. And the last two is a little bit sobering news for people in the United States, is the United States may deploy up to 17,000 troops near Iran as war enters new phase. The United States could soon position more than 17,000 ground troops in and around the Middle East. Sorry, around the Middle East sounds goofy to me. Like it sounds so. In a major military escalation linked to the ongoing conflict with Iran, according to the Wall Street Journal. If approved by President Donald Trump, the deployment would add around 10,000 additional soldiers to forces already active in the region, signaling a possible shift towards expanding ground operations against Iranian targets. And then there's of course, because we have to get our news from fucking Twitter. If President Trump gives the go-ahead, the U.S. could soon have more than 17,000 ground troops on Iran's doorstep. That is far short of what would be needed for a full-scale invasion, but it could seize strategic territory on the mainland. to secure
So that would be a declaration of
uranium.
war?
I
I see.
Is that a declaration of war? Sounds like I feel like the sound of the bomb dropping was a declaration of war, but hey.
Right?
What do I know?
He had stopped 8 wars and was a Nobel Peace Prize certainty. Does this mean that FIFA will ask him to give back his FIFA Peace Prize?
His FIFA Peace Prize. That is the biggest joke I think I've heard all year so far.
I'm just
Okay, and the other
waiting
one.
for FIFA to give Melania Picture of the Year, the FIFA Picture of the Year award.
Exclusive. As many as 150 U.S. troops have been wounded so far in Iran, sources say. As many as 150 U.S. troops have been wounded in a 10-day-old war with Iran. 2 people familiar with the matter told Reuters on Tuesday. The casualty figure has not been previously reported. Prior to Reuters' publication of the figure, the Pentagon had only disclosed 8 U.S. personnel seriously injured. In a statement, they only said 8. It is now up to 150. In a statement after Reuters published its report, the Pentagon estimated the figure to be approximately 140 wounded, said the vast majority of them were minor. Quote, since the start of of Operation Epic Fury, which makes me want to vomit when I say it out loud, approximately 140 U.S. service members have been wounded and over 10 days of sustained attacks, said Chief Pentagon spokesperson Sean Parnell. He said 108 of the wounded service members have already returned to duty. But, hey, is this starting to sound familiar? This 10 days of sustained attacks? You know, does that sound familiar to something about like a three-day war that might have come up a few years ago that's still ongoing, like a conflict? No, doesn't sound like... No? Alright. Well, that was the last thing that I had for today. So you guys tell me, how do you feel? It's March. It's the end of March. We're going into April. How you guys doing?
I'm
glad that 20... Sorry,
Go ahead. Please go ahead, Dapper.
Look, I'm just glad that, you know, we're finally through the first 3 years of Trump's presidency, apparently, as it feels.
It does feel like that. It's been 1 year and like the first quarter.
Yeah. It definitely feels like we've already been through 3 years of it, at least.
Oof. Oofda. I mean, I would give you guys some good news. I kind of mixed the good news in, sort of in between things. I could give you some good news about all the money that Canada's making off of this and how great we're all doing over here. But I feel like I feel like that might be mean.
To whom?
Yeah, I would just caution, don't go down the PP, trail.
I would caution not to travel to the United States right now. If you're not from the United States, or you're not, even if you're from the United States and you're not currently in the United States, if you have a way to stay the fuck out, it might be a good idea. And I get that people are like, I live here, this is my home, and I want to protest and I want to fight for it, and I get that. You can do that from outside.
Yep, I'm not going to blame anyone who decides to become a refugee.
I wonder if Canada's going to reconsider refugee status for Americans.
They've already reconsidered a lot of asylum claims.
Yes. Yeah, that's a thing that's happening. I don't know, man.
But seriously, I think, certainly Canada, a lot of things going right for Canada. I hope that Canada, continues to progress. I hope that provinces figure out how to trade better with each other, and Canada creates better connections with the rest of the world, because I think that'll be because having countries being successful helps everyone.
Yeah, I mean, even regardless of whatever's going on in the United States right now, and the United States and everybody else diversifying is healthy for everybody. Regardless, because as you can see, having too much power in one place kind of corrupts things. On the other hand, what do you guys think looking forward for what do you expect to see either in the war with Iran, or with trade negotiations, or with the Strait being closed, or any of the stuff that we talked about today?
I mean, I think this is going to be another war that the United States loses, just like they lost in Afghanistan, just like they lost in Vietnam, just like they mostly lost in Korea.
You think it's gonna stretch out way longer than they?
Oh yeah.
It's hard to say because one thing that happens is that current real money, not fake money like Space Karen and his friends, are being upset that their finances is being disturbed. Not that that bothers me, but it bothers them. The question is whether or not they're going to be able to put enough effective pressure to say cut it out. I'm surprised that the narcissist in the White House chose Iran first over other targets. But then he's had foreign influence control for a long time. It's the people surrounding him that said, "Yes, Mr. President, that's a good idea," and are cheering it on. From the press secretary who knows better but is doing it anyway, to the Secretary of State, to the Secretary of Defense that pretends to be the Secretary of War. All those people, you'll be held accountable for your crimes. The best thing you can do is resign and minimize your culpability. In my opinion,
I'm just worried that Iran might expand its barricade of trade routes. It's done with the Hormuz Strait. It might actually start widening to use it as a leverage to control the war or control America. So yeah, and that will affect rest of the world. And I think this might be the dumbest mistake Trump has ever made in his. This might actually cost him his next election, in my opinion. Republicans their next election. My bad.
Yeah.
Sorry, because he's not.
It's definitely gonna affect the midterms, for sure.
Midterms, yes, and I think so. The next elections also, because if the longer the war continues, the domino effect into people's lives because of the lack of resources, right, due to the disruption of trade routes, they will and the rise of prices, they will carry on in the far future till the next elections, in my opinion. So yeah. People will remember because of that, and Republicans are going to lose it.
General Food Organization, the GOP, is working hard to try and distort the next election, seizing ballots, trying to prevent people from voting. They're making what Pierre Poilievre tried to do in Canada like a cakewalk comparison, and so the election coming up is going to be very difficult. The White House is going to try.
I think they're underestimating their own voting base. I think so at this point.
Yeah, and it's going to be. I mean, I would suspect that you'd find MAGA Mike Johnson saying we can't seat these new elected officials because their elections are in doubt because they got election deniers.
Yeah,
stealing ballots and making stuff. It's going to be a mess. The best thing I do is to say to those that are capable of voting, register. Those that are registered, vote, and vote in your best interest, because that's going to be the thing that's going to be hard to do. They'll try to distort it, but you can overcome that with sheer numbers, in my opinion.
that's all. Yeah. Yeah, do the Hopper thing. Understand what Hopper was saying and use it against him. Again, I remind you, Hopper was the bad guy in that movie. He understood exactly what was going on. Thank you so much for joining us. Do we have any last words?
Fuck ice.
Yeah, that.
Try it. Don't. Certainly, the volcano show is coming up there.
Yes,
so
on the 10th.
Watch what happens on the 10th. Watch what happens in Manapele. Thank you for subscribing and pushing us over the 500 or at the 500 mark. And
thank you.
Watch what happens. Probably in about I would guess probably in about a month, we'll have the show to reveal the winners of the 29th International Obfuscated Sequel Contest.
Awesome.
And enjoy.
Yeah. Yeah, join us here. There's a live stream here every Saturday, basically, roughly, give or take. The next debate I'm looking at scheduling for the 18th. Rum and Coke will be on the 11th. The Philosophy Show is on the 4th. And the next debate pub will be on the 25th, all in April. If you want, you can go and sub to everybody else on their own channels. You can find, there will also be links down below in the description that get added. Thank you so much for joining us. Like, share, subscribe, all that good shit. We'll see you next time. Thank you so much for joining us. I really, really appreciate it.
Yay, 500 subscribers.
If you're
Sorry
a
for
woman
the F-bomb,
out,
Landon.
if you're somebody out there that is capable of having babies, maybe consider not having sex or babies with anybody who likes any of the fucking manga people we've been talking about. Okay, thanks. Bye.